100 episodes. I expected to have to find another job a long time ago.
Along the way, every conceivable urban legend and myth, rural legend and myth, every story that you've ever heard as a kid around a campfire, we've incorporated in some fashion on some of our episodes.
It is truly one of the most inventive shows. Week after week, we never know what we're getting when we get a cut of the show.
I think the success of the show is credibility and the passion of the fans and an ability to tap into the expectation of a very passionate fan base and deliver what they're looking for week in, week out with the highest quality.
It's a weird experience. I mean, we've sort of been talking about it for a while, and we knew at the beginning of the 5th season that we'd hit this number. But now that it's here, you go like, oh, 100 episodes. You're like, man, every episode is a weird, hard, like a new journey. It's almost like making 100 movies.
And it was great to be there with our crew and just say, like, thanks, guys. Like, and Jensen and I get celebrated every day, you know? Like, it's always, cameras are on us, people are touching us up and giving us gum and food and coffee. And so we are always celebrated and thanked and stuff like that. So it was nice to go back to the crew and say, like, listen, this is y'all guys, you know, and thank you.
The award has already been given. The milestone has already been reached well before the party begins. So for that, it's just kind of, it means a little extra.
It's a little overwhelming. I mean, you know, doing 100 episodes is kind of unbelievable.
For the longest time, we were just a little engine that could, and now people are going, wow, that train is actually going up that hill quite a ways now. So, yeah.
There's not that many shows that make it to 100 episodes. And it takes a lot of people fighting for a show to get to that point.
We don't really pick our heads up very often. And as a matter of fact, I was breaking that particular episode with Jeremy Carver, and then we finished it, and I said, all right, great, you know, go to outline, get me the outline in 2 days, I'll see you later, and I start like marching out of the room, and he called after me, he's like, Eric, stop. And I stopped, I'm like, what? He's like, it's your 100th episode. You just broke 100 episodes. And I took a moment, I was like, my God, you're right.
It's a good group of people, and see them have a party and celebrate amazing accomplishment. That was fun. There's a certain highlight to seeing Bob Singer kind of like become a blues god.
Everybody in the band is part of the crew, 100%, so it was pretty cool.
I'm not surprised that Jensen can sing.
At the time, I said, you know, we've had bands before that played at rap parties that don't get paid much attention to, so if you see me doing this, let's just cut our losses. But they seem to be with us, so yeah, it was great.
Well, I say, no guts, no glory.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the president of Warner Brothers Television, Mr. Peter Roth.
Tonight it is our privilege to be able to honor and to celebrate the People's Choice Award winning #7 best series on all of television. That's according to the New York Times. The 100th episode of Supernatural.
Woo! I've never been on a show with 100 episodes, so this is new territory for me, and I've never, they asked me a few months ago to direct this one, and I was like, yeah, sure, and then I realized afterwards, it was like, wow.
This crew has been so dedicated to this show that they've been with us since day one, which is amazing because you get to share, it's a family. And to reach this milestone together is pretty substantial.
Anytime you're on a show, it's a mass of people that have to all have the same flow, the same direction to make it work.
You know, we look at ourselves as a link in a chain and part of a collective and, you know, part of a team, and it's nice to have that camaraderie with not only each other, but we share it with, you know, everybody that works on the show, and I think that that's a vital part of the success of any show.
With Supernatural and with television series, we have to cut a lot of corners. On Supernatural, we have 8.5 days per episode to do all the effects that go into it. So what we do is sort of, we kind of call it like guerrilla visual effects work, right? We kind of get in, hit them hard, and get out before anyone can even really see what's going on. Every show we're trying to do something different. So in every episode, we're always trying something from scratch. And it's, you know, if we do this and then we do this, then we should be able to get that. And that's sort of how it goes.
The end is nigh. The apocalypse is upon us.
They filmed the movie Watchmen literally across the street from our stages. And they made they made about 2 to 3 blocks of downtown New York, and then just left it. It was basically just sitting empty. And we fixed it up and we built it, and we basically built ourselves 3 city blocks of backlot, which we never had before on the show. We were always filming in downtown Vancouver. I mean, it's become a drinking game. Like, notice how many times we use the same 2 or 3 city blocks. We used it in The Curious Case of Dean Winchester. We're using it in 2 Minutes to Midnight as Detroit. I mean, it stands in for like every urban city. We use it in the alleyway where Cass beats the hell out of Dean in our 100th episode, Point of No Return. Like, we just use it over and over and over again. But it gives us, for the first time, something we've actually never had in some of these rare situations, which is it does give us a little actual production scope.
Something this size, from what I would estimate, I said there's probably about 100 carpenters, electricians, all just to make this work in that short period of time. The alley we use a lot of, because there's a great alley here, and what we just shot was when Castiel, as we call it, opened a can of whoop-ass on Dean, where Dean is walking down the street in front of the bar, right across the street behind me, and Castiel is in the back alley and pulls him in the back alley. What are you, crazy? I rebelled for this! This is where Dean's questioning himself. He's thinking maybe he's going to give up. You know? And that's when the fight sequence between Castiel and Dean, the first one we've had, you know, it takes place right in the back alley behind me. Please! I gave everything for you. And this is what you give to me.
It gave us a great scope, as you saw in Steve Boyum's episode. It was just wonderful. And what we really get to do practically, you know, as far as making that city look like it was post-apocalyptic, we could have never done had we not owned those blocks of buildings, because you can't do that downtown. You know, they're not going to let you block off the street and torch their buildings. So it's a lot of fun for us to actually, you know, when you have the opportunity to have a back lot, and you know, it was a lot of fun.
It sort of feels like we're all, like we could do this with our eyes closed. We can't, and it's hard work, and every day is hard, but it feels comfortable, and it feels like, it's like an old friend. It's like you get up and you read Sam's lines, and you're like, oh, all right, cool, like, let's get it done.
What you know about Sam and Dean is that they will be there for each other no matter what the trial, no matter what the tribulation, no matter how dangerous, they've got each other's back.
Well, the relationship between the brothers has, really since season 1, has flip-flopped and gone back and forth quite a bit over the course of 5 seasons.
Sam and Dean's relationship has changed so much, from Dean seeking out Sam in the pilot to get him to just help him this one last time for Dad.
He didn't want to do this, and this wasn't the life he wanted to lead. And then almost in season 2, you see a complete role reversal.
To Dean pushing away Sam, Sam pushing away Dean, them both combining and saying, let's do this together, we're brothers.
I think you continue to see that almost that role reversal happening, where, you know, one of us is giving in and the other is trying to pull back.
So it's been nice to do sort of anything and everything, and that's a wonderful thing about television, is you really get to explore all aspects, if you get to be on a show that goes as long as we've gone.
That ever-evolving storyline and that ever-evolving relationship between the two brothers is really what keeps the show moving forward and captivating.